Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bachelor Super Rugby. Today, we have an eligible Bachelor in our midst who will be here joining us to talk about his challenges with finding a Super Rugby club, and we are going to assign him a Super Rugby club and see if they are the club of his dreams. This man is our own Dylan Langers. Dylan, tell us about your troubles.
Well, Nick, I'm in search of a rugby team. I don't know if you know this, but Melbourne doesn't have a professional rugby team anymore. Well, union team. So, I thought I'd come on here and, pour my heart out, see if we can find true love. And if not, at least I'll get a spin-off podcast I can start and, complain about my issues.
Well, don't worry, mate. We have the teams for you. I have 4 eligible teams here for you to talk about today. We have the Queensland Reds, represented by our beautiful Josh Murphy. We have the Waratahs, represented by our wonderful Nick Hartman. We have Nathan Williamson, who has kindly offered to fill in the mantra of the Western Force. I mean, he flies around enough and goes over there enough, so it probably fits. And then lastly, of course, we have this bloke called Nick somewhere who will be attempting to represent the Brumbies and definitely not trying to convince you that Noel Alessio is definitely a good enough player for the Lions tour. So, ladies, please, it's time for us to find this man a Super Rugby team. First of all, Nathan, I'll throw it to you in the West. How are we? How are we feeling?
We're feeling great. It's our anniversary, so we want to just spend it with someone special and get someone involved. And, Dylan, I know we've had some history in the past. We've loaned players and gone back together, but I'm just excited to try and get you on my side and just support my team.
That's very nice of you. Never made a finals,
Very nice.
though. And also, probably the most inconsistent team, literally a rotating door of players. But we also have Josh Murphy there as well, up in the Sunshine State, late by an hour. Can't imagine why. How are we, mate?
Sound like a pack-a-day smoker. I definitely can tell that I'm not a Sheila in this one. But I can tell you one thing, mate. Kiss as your coach, you're going to get a few on the cheek. So you definitely know where you're going to go. Head up north and get that love right there and then.
That's the love.
And then, of course, lastly, but certainly not least, Mr. Hartman. You've gone through a bit of you've gone and had a healing era. You had like a bad era. You went into relapse last year, but you've gone and done the time and had a healing era, haven't you? And you've come back better than ever and stronger. Is this your year?
Yeah, well, actually, thank you. My recovery still isn't over. I'm still a raging coke addict. That wasn't me shitting on the beach. That was someone else. But yeah, we're looking good. And look, if they lose, we can just go with the Swans, okay? So
don't say that to the Victorian. We actually want to keep him. We don't want him to be converted to AFL. But needless to say, we will all dive in. I think it is time for us to all put our cases forward. And I think, where's the best place to start? Nathan Williamson, Western Force. Let's talk about them. Let's talk about this season. Let's talk about their year. Why is Dylan the one for you?
Well, we've been pretty active in the off-season. Got some good Wallabies in there, Darcy Swain, Dylan Peach, Brandon Pangaromosa. A young squad. We're building nicely. And, we've gone through some similar issues, We're looking for, you had your first finals appearance last year. We're looking for ours first in this new format. We got a great fan base in the Sea Blue. You guys wore blue. So I think it's looking really up for the Force. Like, we've got a great home crowd, home record. The Rebels sort of had a crowd down there in certain games. As I said, you've had some of our players. Now they're coming back and we're just sort of going to give you a club support. We know what it's like not to have a club to support. So, we understand your pain. We're willing to take you on. And under Simon Cron, things are looking up for the Western Force this year with the roster we built.
Very Dylan, nice. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about the Force? Do you feel a connection?
I think if you're going to pitch the players that you were pitching, you'd go with some better recruits. Not really impressed with those names that you dropped, But who did you get back from the Rebels again? I don't.
See, we got David Palu, got a nice centre there. Ekawasi, a back rower. So we didn't go like the other clubs and just ravage you. You know, we showed some respect. We let them, make their own choices. We weren't like these other greedy clubs that just took second rowers when they didn't need it, or back three members when they didn't need it. We just live within our means. We have a sort of a homegrown squad, and yeah, it's not the sexiest names. It's not Taniel Tupou, or it's not guys like that. But hey, we're just battlers in the West. Just trying to do our best and loaded up by Twiggy Forrest's money. But aside from that, we're just battling along, trying to compete with our East Coast brothers. That's it.
Yeah, that sounds very nice.
Mm.
Twiggy's money sounds very nice too.
Plus, it's Twiggy's money. Yeah, Twiggy's money sounds nice.
More importantly, we can pay off your tax bill. How about that? Get you back up your feet.
You could have, but you didn't.
Yeah.
You should have just bought the Rebels.
Well, we all come to an agreement that Gina was going to do it?
Hey, I offered to take it as a pose for Gina, like the swim team, but no one wants to see that.
Shame, Gina. Like, what could have been?
I do.
It could have been, but. Sorry, Nick.
Oh, Waratah's asking for a strip show. What's new?
I don't know anything about that.
The only thing I would say though is, I think the only problem is that it's a very long distance relationship though, Dylan. That's the problem. There's going to be a lot of travel involved. I know Nick White was literally complaining that your time together would be, quote, a stitch up, because they've got to zigzag back and forth. They've got a lot of very tough games first up. They've got to face the Brumbies away. They've got to face the Reds, the Waratahs, the Crusaders all first up. And then they have to also do long trips away to New Zealand, and where they have really struggled to be consistent on the road. Nathan, how can you turn that around?
Hey, like, our hobbies include traveling. We enjoy sort of getting away for the weekend, exploring everything that goes around. Yes, we haven't been that good away from home over the past couple of years, but it just makes that time that we spend together in Perth special. And we really want to just create that bond that, it's always going to be about just making you feel at home, because when we don't feel like at home, we don't perform. So we really need that. But yeah, it's, some tough roads, but we're going to prove ourselves throughout there. This is a new year, a bit more experience around the group. So we're going to be better away and learn from our lessons from last year.
So you would say your love language is quality time with fans?
Quality time with fans at home, in our homely environment where we're just sort of there, control our own atmosphere, and we're comfortable in our surroundings.
Very nice.
That sounds very
Dylan, you won't
beautiful.
have to pay for a date if you pick the Force.
Is that because no one will date me?
I just thought it was just Twiggy's money, wasn't it?
That's our private jet will help us. That's the quiet bit out loud.
There's the
Say
answer.
the quiet bit out loud.
Yeah. Uncle Twiggy.
Uncle Twiggy's always going to help you out.
It is very, very beautiful. But the question is, do you think you can fly high this season? Do you think you can make your first finals?
Of course, this is the year to do it. Like, in all seriousness, a stacked Wallabies pack there, getting Tom Robinson back as well. We got literal doctor in our team. Like, I know you're a smart man yourself. You guys can bond over that. And then you got Ben Donaldson coming back as more experienced 10. Nick White is a sort of experienced 9 outside him. You'll learn to love him. He's great. He's just just a bit of a yapper, but you get used to it. It's fine. I swear. We've got magical outside backs like Harry Potter. Like, what's not to love? I think,
No.
Yeah, it took 8 minutes for me to make a Harry Potter joke. Deal with it. That was called restraint. But yeah, no, this could be the year. With you, we could go the full way and finally make a finals.
That's true.
It's very beautiful and impassioned, and a very committed and loving and deep, heart pouring out moment here. But I'm just going to pivot over to the Reds for a minute and just see if that is an appeal. I'm very glad Andy isn't here, because I feel like he could win you over in a heartbeat immediately. Fortunately, we've got Josh here, Josh, you have to sell why the Reds is the team for Dylan. Good luck.
Look, guys, sometimes you just don't pick the 10s, you pick the 2s, and you do what you want with them. And that's what the Reds will do for you, right? At the end of the day, one thing that you've got to remember is that they've been playing more games from the end of last season to preseason. They've got more wins under their belt in that period than any of the other teams. They've scored more points than the Waratahs, than the Force, right? Than the Brumbies in this preseason trials leading up. And, they talk about how much travel the Force have to do. Well, I don't see the Reds in Australia at the moment. They're traveling over the world, mate. Don't you want to go global and look after yourself? Because to me, that's, the Reds are going to do that for you. And when they can put on 80 points on a team, and I don't care, Bristol, you can call it a second-grade team if you need to, but that was still a beautiful game to watch. And you got a fullback like Jock Campbell. He's a pretty boy that scores a hat-trick in the second half of the second trial. It's Ulster. What's there not to love, mate? You've got everyone. You look at the Wallabies. What are the key names in the Wallabies? Fraser, Harry. They're at your disposal. A back row that you can look at for reliability and captaincy. I'm sorry, mate, but I don't see that in any of the other teams right now. So it's not here to be selling a hard slog. It's just a key fact-finding mission. And I've given you the facts, Dylan. It's time for you to really make up your mind now. We'll go on a date and let's get you a couple of koalas there and some photos.
To the point.
We'll sort you out.
Oh, that's some big dick energy right there.
Hey, that's what I say. Les kiss. You're always going to get one, buddy.
It sounds like there's going to be less kissing, though.
Look at you smiling already, obviously.
That's brilliant.
So,
But
what are your
in all seriousness, though, the Reds are going to win. Like, it's just how it is.
Consistency is key. You've had the least changes, haven't you?
Yep.
And yet,
Well,
Least changes in the team. Again, they've got a...
I was going to say, they brought back a couple of...
what were you going to say?
Yeah, they brought a couple of rebels, but they were actually technically bringing them back that, we loaned. So...
I do have a couple of questions, though, Josh. And also, this is for you, Dylan, too. It's important. Josh, first and foremost, if you are the Reds, what is your love language? How can you show the love to this prospective fan?
Oh, it's definitely physical touch, buddy. Definitely physical touch. We've got you. Hey, obviously our medical team does the job. Least amount of injuries in the teams for the season. Hey, they look after you. It's a good field. So nice picnics under the midday sun on the halfway line. You can look at whatever end of the field you want, or you can look at whatever you want, to be honest. We're not too picky, but we'll be there to hold your hand and guide you through it.
Wow. Yeah, those injuries. How's Liam Wright going?
Well, he's not wrong.
Oh,
technically he's wrong is, so...
Hey, don't get defensive, Mr. Force. It's okay.
I will buy you off.
Everything will come back. I greatly think the Force will do better than the Waratahs and the Brumbies. So I'm happy to support you as the second choice. Does that help?
I hope not, because I'm pretty sure Nick swore that if for the Wallabies to win the Lions, the Waratahs need to win Super Rugby. So
Yeah, that's what I said.
It is true. Dylan, I think it's important to ask this question here as we kind of approach the half point on this episode of The Bachelor Super Rugby, sponsored by Super Rugby Fantasy, which you can go in the running to win 10 grand off if you are so inclined. Dylan, what are you looking for in a fan? What are you looking for in your club? What are you looking for as a supporter?
Loyalty, commitment, passion. Those are all key elements, which is something I've never experienced as a Rebels fan. So, and I'm going to be honest, it'd be really nice to not lose. So, or have a tax debt. So,
Josh, I know that you have been winning a lot more lately. What makes you think that you're confident that you can give Dylan what he needs?
Well, it's obviously just about being right. I don't think there's really any conversation that's needed to be had secondary to this now. We know that the team's there. We know we've got plenty of Cup Wallabies. We know we're on the right trajectory. We've got a really strong team, and the love will be around. And again, physical touch. You will be held tight for the whole season, and I promise, mate, you will be standing up with the club at the end of the year.
To just be honest, it was very impressive that he hasn't mentioned Tate McDermott once, because I know if Andrew was here, that's all he would have done. So,
all bloody
That's
phrases.
the secret
right.
weapon
Or
behind
Harry
closed
Wilson.
doors, Dylan. We don't have to give away everything.
Plus, additionally, he's got a very easy run to begin with. Probably one of the easiest runs of any team at the start of the season. So you're going to get some easy wins straight up. Moana Pacifica first match. I mean, all you have to do is tame Arnie Severe, and then you're basically there. So you could say the Reds are easy if you want. But the other question I want to ask now is certain Waratah. What?
Hello.
Mrs. Waratah, now is your
Yes.
time to try and sell yourself to Dylan.
Hello, gorgeous Dylan. Where it tells. So we've had all these lovely chaps come in, and our team's looking a lot better. I'm not sure where they came from. We've got a big guy up front, and we've got several other people around the team as well.
Why do you sound so
If you-
African?
If you like halfback magic, because I'm Wendy Waratah.
From Hunter's Hill.
Yes, from Hunter's Hill. Hello. I live next to Kate Blanchett. And her husband, Andrew Upton. If you like halfback magic, we've got that. We have a beautiful man called Champagne Tane. More of a Pinot Noir fan myself, but we have a beautiful halfback combination. And just down the road from the stadium with this beautiful harbour, I can catch a ferry back home. You like culture. As a man of culture from Melbourne, we have culture, unlike Perth, who doesn't, and Brisbane. I mean, Powderfinger, really? That's the best band you've got. ABC headquarters is in Ultimo if you want to come visit. We've got a beautiful new coach. Have I mentioned the harbour? I want to hear more about you, Dylan.
this sounds like the best Tourism New South Wales video ever.
Yes. Bondi. Harbour. Sydney to Hobart.
Star Wars prequels filmed there.
Yes, and Matrix.
Yeah, and the Matrix.
The red dress scene was actually filmed in Martin Place, which now has a metro station.
So I just wanted to say, Wendy, you've worked on yourself quite a bit in the. You worked on yourself quite a bit in the off season. I heard that not only did you get some new boys on the block, but you even got your entire surface completely redone as well, because apparently it was injuring players at Darcyville.
Got a trim. Nice work.
You got a good trim.
Yes.
You got a trim. And thank bloody God, because I've played on that surface and I nearly broke my leg. And my question is, firstly, to you, what is your love language? How can you give love to Dylan?
Many ways. I think. How love language? Well, he's a man of culture, you see. So I think I would, do some halfback magic, and he'd love to see, Tane and Jake, play. And the thing you got to think about too, Dylan, it's a global city. People come and go. You know, for example, someone who should be ours, Harry Wilson. He's from Canada, but he plays for the Reds. You know, but we're happy. You know, we're tolerant. We let people come and go, and I'm sure you appreciate that.
But why didn't you keep Harry Wilson?
Oh,
Because Charlie
he
Gamble
like
was
Kate
waiting in the
Blanchett.
wings.
He was more of an Isla Fisher fan.
Our Italian stallion was in the wings over there.
Yes. Carlo Tizzano. I can pronounce.
Oh, it's mine. Hands off. You had him for a bit. Now he's back.
I just want to lick him up.
I love that, like, you're not even talking about the team. You're just literally talking about cultural things in Sydney.
The harbour.
The
Harbour, yes. Yes, Harbour. Who mentioned Harbour? I've been there.
I will
I
say,
don't know what to say to that.
Yeah.
So
I
what
will
is your
say-
love language?
Yeah, what is the love language? We didn't even...
Catching the ferry to work.
Very Sydney of you.
I was gonna say like either gifts or acts of service because they've got daddy's credit card or something to that effect. But I will say though, Dylan, if you were to get behind this team, they've got a very, very good run when it comes to they've got a very, very good run in the draw. 4 of their 5 first games at home, playing the Highlanders at home just to start the season off.
Yes.
I think there's brand spanking new stadium. Definitely wasn't built in exactly the same place as the old one. That was still kind of sort of all right, and didn't need to be teared down. I can see Nathan shaking his head over there.
Whoa! What about the ladies' toilets?
Oh yes, the must discuss ladies' toilets. But
Are they gender neutral though? Because that's important.
Yes, of course.
enough of these Waratahs, enough of these Reds, enough of these Force players. I'm now going to convince you why you should follow the Brumbies.
They've got Noah
And
Lollis here. You don't have a chance.
I can raise that. We have Victorians. We have Rob Valentini. Not only are we the closest to Victoria geographically, of course, and you know exactly, we come from a similar place. We come from a similar place. Do you know what they called us when we were founded in 1996?
Little
What
Melbourne.
were we called? No, not why aren't you in Melbourne? We were called the Rejects. That's what we were referred to as. We were the team that was knocked back by everyone else, filled with players who would not do any well. And yet, we have taken that and we have done so much. We have won more than any other team. We've won more titles than any other team. Queensland Reds winning more than fuck them off. Fuck them off out of here. We won 12 games last year. Only 2 teams could beat us, and they were the 2 teams that made the grand final. What?
I was like, ugh, look at you. I win games.
Really? Well, not only that, we have some of the best players in all of Australia. I mean, Alan Alatoa, former Wallabies captain, formidable player, excellent man. I don't even need to sell Bobby B to you. Not from
We just let
Sydney.
him go like free spirit.
like this accent, free spirit and constantly changing.
Yes.
It's like a poor phone sex line. You can do better.
We've also got funny.
I'm very good at that.
We have. We've got Billy Pollard, who's one of the freaking awesomest blokes ever. Charlie Cale. We've got Jack Debrasini. I don't even need to sell Jack Debrasini to you because there's a man who's literally below me called Josh Murphy who knows Jack Debrasini and knows that he's a funny man and a good man. We've literally got the Lord. We've got the Lord. We've got Lord Laurie himself, come Canberra born and bred. We've got one of the best centres in the world, Lenny Ikitau. And also Tom Wright, who is, let's be honest, he's a freak. He's a really, really good player. Don't let the haters tell you otherwise. The man literally scored more tries than any other Australian rugby player. And guess what? We can actually go deep into finals and not fall at the final hurdle.
Oh, going deep.
So, yeah, we go very deep.
I've seen you before. You can't go deep.
Yeah, well, at least we could go in, unlike you.
We know our limits. We know our limits.
I love this. It's turned into inappropriate, naughty innuendos. But
isn't that rugby? That's just rugby, isn't it?
Isn't this entire podcast as well?
Like, you can put makeup on a pig, doesn't make it any different. Still a pig, buddy. Doesn't matter what you say. The Reds are going to win this.
Well, I know that we talk about physical touch, and I know that the Waratahs use their mum's credit card as a way to buy your heart. We don't need to do anything. We don't need to do anything. We're action. We are all action. We put the hard work in, and we are all action. And we take the players that we get, and we make an amazing team out of it. We're obsessed with forwards. I know you like yourself some forwards. You love yourself some rolling mauls. You love yourself some scrums. We're built on that shit. We love that shit. We'll play.
Wasn't that built from the now current Waratahs coach though? Like it's
Yes.
what's gonna happen now? I'm sure that rolling ball's not going to be the same.
And
Yes, gang up at him. Get him.
I love that the moment I start selling, you fuckers all gang up. And I don't even need to remind you, of course, that unlike literally when we talk about players departing the Rebels and going all the way, they literally all went to the Waratahs and the Reds. They literally all went there. How many players actually went? I mean, I know one or two went. David Felawaihi was probably the biggest one for the Brumbies, but we stayed true.
So basically, you're saying no one wanted to go to Canberra, so why should you, Dylan?
That's right.
Canberra's got good wineries.
Just shot yourself in the foot. The players didn't even want to go to Canberra. He's from Rebels. He's trying to help his own base, and you're like, they didn't even come. They went to the Reds.
They don't even go here, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Players, it's because three-quarters of the squad were already signed up. They were already signed up for another year because we're like, this is the best place I can be as a player.
The Reds had the same,
also
though.
We've got... No, they didn't. Didn't they?
The Reds didn't get many out of the Rebels, did you? No, you did a few.
Canham, Salakaloto, Dungunu, Mason Gordon, Lockie Anderson.
Of course,
Matt
the Force
Gibbon.
knows.
Matt Gibbon. Believe me, we tried. We tried. It's
Again,
also,
they went for quality over quantity, Dylan. Again, the Reds. Hey,
Reds were basically daylight robbery you. And on top of it, do you know who else is from Queensland? Nick Stiles. Do we like it?
Damn, he's gone in.
I know you're a big fan of Nick Stiles, aren't you?
Oh yeah, my mate Nick Stiles.
I'm loving this. Is just becoming like a great ecosystem of Australian rugby. All three of us attack the Brumbies, yet the Brumbies still somehow come up on top. Like this is Super Rugby for the last 4 or 5 years.
God damn it!
Keeps winning. Ours just fucking keep winning.
And meanwhile, the Waratahs are in the corner, not able to function, and telling you how great they how great
the city is.
Once I
split
stopped talking about
personalities.
myself, I lost interest.
Accurate.
So Dylan, now it is time for you. You've heard from all of our rugby teams, and it is now time for you to offer up your rose as to which team you would support. We do not have a rose. We don't have a golden rose. I instead have a fluoro rugby ball to offer up that you will give away. It's definitely not from a competition that was made defunct several years ago. Who will receive your fluoro rugby ball?
There we go.
Oh, your Rebels can.
My Rebels can. I can't get
Who will receive your Rebels can?
There we go. There's been some very interesting points tonight. In actual fact, a lot better than I was anticipating.
Papa.
Yeah.
One guy.
Money.
Yeah. Everyone came in hard. They were swinging hard, and it was very impressive.
We like to go hard.
Yeah. This is a great sign for Australian rugby. I think I'm going to follow an inspirational rugby man who's been in a similar situation to me. And that is following the honey bachelor, Nick Cummins, and just go, I'm going to pick someone that's already been kicked out.
You motherfucker.
Boo. I've had this joke lined up for ages.
That's be done.
Yeah.
You
this is like
motherfucker.
low-hanging fruit.
You mean to tell us we've been prepping this podcast for like the last week, and you had the honey badger? You were going to follow the honey badger the whole time.
I came up with my spill in literal minutes. I put minutes into this, goddammit.
I've put more thought into this than the Rebels executive team did into all of the last few years. So, you know. No, that's
To be fair.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
watch
what's
yourself,
gonna-
mister. My son's best friend's father was on that board.
Well, the one currently suing Rugby Australia.
Yeah, maybe. But watch out, because my son's other best friend is a lawyer.
Straight out St. Ives. I love it.
How did you know?
Very much an Australian rugby podcast.
So basically, no one gets the Rebels tinny can / fluoro ball. At least it's not a New Zealand rugby side.
Oh, God, no.
Oh, yes, like those horrible Chiefs. What are they even doing in the competition?
Oh, do you know what I think? I reckon the Chiefs should go to Western Sydney. What do you
Oh,
think?
I've never been. I wouldn't know.
Well, now that this whole concept's gone off the rails, I think actually let's actually finish with a serious question. And seeing as we have all kind of touched on this a little bit, where do we think each of these teams are going to finish? That is the serious question this year, because
First!
what, you still think the Waratahs are going to finish last?
Yes. No,
Why?
first.
Got him. We fucking got him.
We finally got
Hey,
him.
don't make fun of me.
confirmed.
I'm an old MILF.
So why are the Waratahs going to finish last, Wendy?
Not because they're the most beautiful looking team. Especially that new
Are
boy
they?
Joseph in centers with beautiful skin. Oh, glorious. Tall, rugged, like my late husband.
I love how committed to this you are.
All style, no substance. The Waratahs way.
Hey, what did you say?
You wouldn't know that.
What was that last thing you said?
You know this would be the prime time of the year to be a Waratahs fan, because it's literally they're the February champions. It's all true.
Hey,
Sound-
watch
sound
your
wrong.
mouth, mister.
No, make me.
Okay. Wait, no, I'm not coming to Canberra.
Yeah, I know you won't
Maybe
come down to
Jim
Canberra.
will be
But Nathan, where do you think the Force are going to end up?
Honestly, I would love to see them crack the top six, but it's a lot of good teams this year. I think then they're going to turn around their way form if they're going to get it done. But I think they're probably going to be battling for that sixth spot and maybe just fall out behind one of the Kiwi sides. But I think if they can finish at a seventh or eighth, get a couple of away wins, big scalps, like that's going to be an improvement on what happened last year. And with the sort of young core they have, like that's all you can really ask for from this team. It's just some improvement against you. Again, you're right. A lot of teams signed a lot better players and a lot high-profile players. But if you can build that continuity in that core, like it might not come together this year, but for 26 and beyond, it's looking good in the West.
Sure, certainly is. And I mean, it definitely was a long game with signing Cronny on, and as Twiggy throws more and more money at it, you think that inevitably it'll finally lead to some good results. Mr. Murphy, I know you're talking a big game with the Queensland Reds, and look, all teasing aside, squad looks jacked. 19 bloody players with international experience in there, I recall. 18 Wallabies, something like that, and a whole bunch of players who are some of the best from the Rebels also joining in as well. I don't want to say that they're necessarily a run in for the title, but I have another question. Do you think they're going to be the best performing Australian team this year?
That I would agree with, definitely. I think that all the work is showing that there's proof in the pudding. They've had additional games more so than every other club, from the end of 24 to early 25. And I think they're just on the right trajectory to start strong. And, we've already alluded that, the beginning of the fixture is a bit friendly, for the Reds. And I think they can build on that momentum. If they can get a couple of key, big wins, bonus points, move forward, by far that they're in the right position to start strong. And it's just keeping that momentum. I expect them to be top 4. It's not even thinking, it's an expectation for me this year is top 4. And I think that, as long as they keep building and working together and minimal injuries to right players, as Nathan alluded to earlier, but players in general, I think keep a healthy squad and keep doing what they're doing. Points are on, flares on, and big wins. And I think we can definitely do it this year.
It's fair. The squad does look insanely jacked. My only other thoughts would be that while I actually do think that is likely someone like the Brumbies will find it a lot harder to put away teams like the Waratahs and the Reds, where they've had kind of the rub of the green over the Australian sides the last couple of years. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case this year. I think literally where those teams finish comes down to those Australian fixtures. They're probably some of the most critical of the year, even taking into consideration the Kiwis. When I would like the Brumbies to finish top 4 as well. I think it's a winning situation for Australia if we can get 3 teams in finals. Honestly, that is a massive win for us, because not only I think the Brumbies are definitely still a chance because the side is still really, really good. There's a lot of good players underneath their international players, and I think they've been blooding a lot of players in and academy guys in. I do think the Reds have the potential to usurp them and go over the top. But not by much. I think if I can see 2 Australian teams in semis, I'm happy. And I think that's very, very achievable this year. Dill, last word for you, our eligible Bachelor, who is now going to go with no team instead to take home. No one will win your heart. You've gone.
All the horses have a great race.
You can if you want. What are your final thoughts? Your closing thoughts as our eligible Bachelor?
I think a lot of these squads are looking really good. I think unlike when the Force folded and there was a mass migration to either the Rebels or overseas, I think what we have seen is that disperse. So there are players like each team's picked up and benefited from it. So there is that. Hopefully these squads can benefit from that depth. They do need to stay fit and healthy. If you get stuck getting too many injuries, that will impact. But yeah, I actually think that there's potential for a lot of good wins across the board. So it is actually an exciting year to watch. As a non-biased fan, actually going, there's going to be some really good games going on. I'd love to see more Australian teams in that top 4. I think the Reds and Brumbies do have the strongest squads, but they've also got the most consistent squads. I think Waratahs and the Force both have the potential to play really well, but those Australian games, and you can't afford to be losing silly games to the Kiwis. We can't afford to be going, we almost beat the Crusaders. No, we've got to actually put them away, and I think we have the chance to do that now.
Just saying, if Jock's starting 10 for the Crusaders, every Australian team better bloody win that game. So I'm sorry. But when you're reaching that far, Mr. Penny, I think he understands what I'm talking about. Christ, the Force are going to win by 40 in that game, for sure.
What, just because it's Jock? Just because Jock's playing for the side?
I love that bloke as a person, and I think that he is an incredible footballer, 100%. And he really played his career, but he's in a mentorship role in the Crusaders. And if he gets picked as a starting option, have they not bled enough 10s and playmakers there now? Do they not have that cuddle and stock there in those playmaking roles? If that sort of becomes clear and transparent. So, I just feel like if he's getting selected as the starting 10, then there is an underlying, question or two there to see what Crusaders are actually capable of. But yeah, just force 40 plus against the Crusaders first game.
Something it would be rotten in the state of Canterbury. I think this is a good final question then to ask for this pod then, but for this episode of The Bachelor, is of course, while we have tried to sell our souls to Dylan to win over his love and affection, there is also the elephant in the room that Australia has not won a title in over 10 years in Super Rugby. Do we see that happening this year? Honest question. Do we actually? Is it real?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like this is the strongest. Like yes, what happened with the Rebels sucks. But ultimately, it is now created 4 teams who are as strong as they've ever been. Particularly when you look at that Waratahs team is ridiculous. The star power it has. Sure, it'll take some time to gel, but you look at the 15 or 23 they'll name tomorrow when we're recording this. If you don't want to be playing that in the finals game, you then look at the Brumbies who have the continuity and the stars to back it up. You then look at the Reds and as Josh said, been playing consistent footy over the past 12 months against high quality opposition, and I just keep getting better. Like there are 3 seriously talented teams there, and when you look at your Kiwi opposition, the Hurricanes have lost players. They'll be out without Moore for the first couple of weeks, along with losing Morby and Brett Cameron for the year. Blues moved on from Akira Ioane. The Chiefs, whilst TT out for the majority of the year, if not for the entire year, like they are there for the taking. If these Australian sides can actually put it together and get over that fact of, oh no, we're playing the Kiwi sides in New Zealand. Like once you break that mental hurdle, this competition for an Australian team is there for the taking.
And adding to the way that the Wallabies have been progressing and the extended squads and the training opportunities, it's almost like there's a goddamn pathway for more players to actually have a crack and get that better learning and intensity. And that's going to prove dividends in the Super. It's just, I'm excited for it. I can't wait. But the worst thing for me about Friday is that I'm at training for the first and second game of the season, and it's absolutely shitting me. And I'm on complete radio silence. Boys, do not fucking message me, and I will get to you.
Okay, so message you.
Watch the games. I'm turning my phone off. I'm not doing anything. I'm literally finishing training, getting in the car, going home, and putting the games on. There's no.
Cool. I'll text you the results. So that when you wake.
Phone won't be turned on until Saturday morning. I'm telling you now. There's no way.
We'll drive to your house and write it on the window.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll drive to the house. I know where you live, so.
I was going to say, if you want to, you can always meet me here. We can just watch it together. Yeah,
that's actually really true. I got to work. I'll be working. That night. I'll be doing. Yeah, it's sad.
Hey boys, sorry. I think my mum took over the microphone again. I'm back.
I knew that sound was familiar.
Yeah. Sorry, she was a bit horny. She does that sometimes. I don't know if this is worse. Of course, I mean this is a joke, loyal viewers, but fans, I'll be in Perth on Friday.
Ooh.
So I'm thinking if I get permission, go to the Force game.
So does that mean you might be falling in love with the Force?
Maybe.
Next episode of The Bachelor Super Rugby.
Maybe.
We're going to see if Nicholas Hartman will go with the Force.
No, the next episode's Married at First Sight. Did he actually love them when he watched them?
Oh, yes. Perfect.
That's a great. I think that's the best closer we're ever going to get from this episode.
Love it.
But cheers, gentlemen. Thank you so much for trying to find Dylan another Super Rugby team. But either way, I think we're ready for a cracker of a season. Next time you hear from us, the season will be underway. This has been The Bachelor Super Rugby.